I think we should start at the beginning of the year. Some pretty big headlines dominated the news in terms of the Costa del Sol property market. Let's do a recap of that.
Yeah.
And what the impact of those headlines, what we're seeing the impact of those today.
I think like the main headlines this year in sort of property news in Spain have been three major, right? Which is Pedro Sánchez 100% property tax on non-EU buyers.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was a big one. It was at the beginning of the year. I think it was in January.
Correct. Yeah.
Resurfaced in May. Then we have the rental restrictions and rental regulations. That was a massive.
Yeah, another big one.
Another big one, and the golden visa. I think those were the three main sort of headlines that occupied a lot of our sort of viewers and audience, occupy time and people sort of pay attention to.
Yeah.
Some affected the real estate market, some didn't.
Yeah. I think they all affected the real estate market to one degree or another. Yeah. But I think some were just noise, and others, we've actually seen sort of things happen on the ground.
So in January, let's start with the first one, 100% tax, Pedro Sánchez. We did a whole video on it. We jumped on it, number one, like always. Yeah. And we discussed sort of what he proposed in this conference where he addressed like the nation or addressed this conference and told them what his plan was for Plan de Vivienda. And then it sort of disappeared. But one of the things he talked about was, including a new tax on non-EU buyers. Yeah. Of 100%, and everyone was going, what? 100%? 100% of what? Of the property price? 100% of the tax?
Oh yeah, total market confusion.
Total market confusion. No one knew what was happening, and then
and then nothing.
And then nothing. Exactly. Again, nothing.
I said like nothing happened. So literally all noise.
All noise. Actually, we had a lot of, let's say, American and Canadian clients, sort of, worried about the news, which is obvious, right? So.
Oh yeah, it definitely was a thorn in our side for a while. A lot of questions that nobody could answer.
Exactly. So people sort of sending us messages saying, "Hey, I've heard this," and we basically at that moment told sort of our audience and what it was, which is just basically noise. Sort of follow on this news, nothing happened until a few months ago when the news resurfaced again, when the PSOE party put the bill on the Congress table. And since then, we released another video on the update on the 100% tax, basically talking about how, unlikely, according to political experts, and how unlikely, according to lawyers, it is for this to pass. Yeah. So that was number one. That was a bit of noise and a bit of a thorn in our back. But for the rest, has not stopped the market, has not stopped, non-EU buyers, and basically.
Well, most importantly, it was never put into effect.
Exactly, and exactly.
Right.
So I would say that's number one. That was the big headline. Moving on to number two.
I think the second one was the golden visa.
Oh, golden visa. That was in February.
Yeah.
That was in February when...
around that time.
Around that time, where golden visas were sort of abolished.
Abolished. Yeah. So the option to enter, to become a resident of Spain through the acquisition of a property to the tune of 500,000 euros, that basically, that was taken off the table as an option for people wanting to come into the market.
So what I find super interesting is I know the golden visa since, I started in real estate, years and years and years ago. And it's like no one even wanted it until the last moment, right? So like it was abolished and everyone was rushing to the visas. Like it was crazy. That was interesting. That was very interesting. It was interesting to see the amount of people that last minute wanted to jump on the golden visa scheme. Yeah. Whereas years before, hardly anyone even was bothered about it.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact statistics, but I know that it was a very, very low percentage of people that in the entirety of sort of the lifespan of the golden visa being an option. It wasn't that many people that took advantage of it. I think that there were certain nationalities that took, maybe Russians and such, that took advantage of it more, but overall, not at all.
My analogy, or the easiest way to say it is, you have a group of kids and there's a toy on the table and no one's playing with that toy. The moment like the parent takes the toy away, it's like, I want to play with that toy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what happened with the golden visa.
That's exactly what happened. So that's no longer available, but we also did another video of alternative options to the golden visa.
We invited Marta Fernandez from Manzanares on the channel.
Oh, she was great.
She was great. She was really good. That was a good video. A lot of people on subscribers really liked that video, which is great. So those were, let's say, 1 and 2. So 100% tax, golden visa, and I think the third headline, which actually is the most important one, I think, in practice and day to day, which I sort of see. We talk about it a lot in the office. Actually, just before Kim left just now, we were talking about it with a current client, which is on the ground. Yeah. is the rental regulations. That was an announcement that was made and then implemented.
Exactly.
And this is basically the change of rental regulations when it comes to short-term rentals.
Yeah.
You know, as we know, the Spanish authorities, Spanish government is trying to sort of crack down and control Airbnb to a maximum. So they're making it as complicated as possible for properties to emerge in this market. So tighten up, let's say, tighten up the screw. We've noticed it's become a bit messy on the coast.
Well, I mean, the biggest difference between that headline and the other headlines was that it was more than just a headline, as you just said. Exactly. It was actually implemented, it was rolled out, and so that's not to say that it hasn't. You know, it's also caused a lot of confusion, though, because I think there's a lot of uncertainty from people about what does it mean, what does it not. I think there seems to be a lot of interpretations of the law, you know, both from sort of a regional level, but also even like within communities themselves. Well, people are interpreting the law, and then it's they're sort of taking action. So yeah, it's there's still a lot of question marks around it.
We were talking about on the channel on this now, you know, community administrators, which are, you know, interpreting the law in different ways and actually prohibiting or not allowing clients of ours that have properties in communities that allow rentals to get rental licenses. It's like, it's the never seen before. It's an absolute. It's quite chaotic, you know, and that's the reality. Like we have someone on the ground right now, as of July 2025, searching for properties with Kim, and going out hunting for properties. In this case, you want something to rent out, you know, short term and use it a few times in the year. It gives us a lot more work, which we're happy to do, but it becomes a lot more confusing, you know, to find properties which are specifically allowed to rent within the communities or communities that specifically allow rentals. So all of a sudden, it becomes harder. So I think like these are one of the headlines from the three. The other two were, let's say, important in terms of noise, but this was not just noise. This was implemented and, you know, changed fundamentally the way we work on the street, on the ground.
So, I mean, we've done a video on this as well, which you can all go check out, so you can watch it at length if you really want to understand the details of it. But give us the main points of the impact of this law. So
previously, you know, years ago, if you bought a property that had a rental license from, you know, you could sort of take the rental license over from the old owner. If the community did not specifically prohibit rentals, you get a rental license quite easily. Now, getting a rental license in order to expose yourself on Airbnb, you know, Booking.com, these platforms is very difficult. You need a specific agreement from the community, and apart from that, you need a new code, which is Código Registral Único, from the land registry, which basically means it's not impossible, it just makes it a lot harder.
All right, guys, so if you want to find out a lot more information about kind of the rental license and the rental regulations, check out the video that we did with Miguel Manzanares.
It's a good one.
You can find out all about it.
Yeah.
I think sort of to kind of, in one way, it was like we had a lot of there's a bit of nervousness on the market in Q1, but we've seen a pretty substantial rebound in Q2. I mean, we had a very exciting Q2 and a record last couple of months.